Dear students, welcome to this online class. Today we will learn part 1 of the lesson Glimpses of India, a baker from Goa, written by Lucio Rodriguez. Goa is known for its churches, music, beaches, and its culture and scenic beauty. Many of us do not know the role played by a Goan baker in the lives of Goans. Come, in this lesson, we will see how the baker is an integral part of Goan life, and we will start this lesson with a video so that you understand the life of Goans and the role played by the Goan bakers. Come, let's begin this class.
Just the thought of Goa brings to our minds a refuge to a relaxed and fun-filled place, plush in nature, flaunting the sun, sand and sea. Mostly sought by domestic as well as international tourists throughout the year for its aesthetic heritage, fish and fun, Goa still exhibits the cultural influence of the Portuguese through its language, architecture as well as lifestyle. Apart from the Portuguese villas and churches, the Goan poder and pau is counted among the very few remnants of the Portuguese culture in Goa. Every morning, Goa wakes up to the sharp honking of the poder, that is the traditional Goan baker, announcing his arrival through the lanes of Goa. The poder merrily cycles around the freshly baked bread, staked in a huge wicker basket which is strapped on his bicycle covered with a tarpaulin, making door-to-door deliveries as the day begins to dawn. He is looked upon as an angel delivering the ready-made bread. Just we open our eyes to the day. Come monsoon, come winter, the poder is always on time. So much so that the Goenkas have their routines scheduled around his timings. Pau that the poder delivers is the crisp traditional leaven bread baked in a variety of shapes and soft and crusty textures that cater to its typical consumers on a daily basis. The most popular variations of the pau are the soft ladi pau, the crusty uno, the whole wheat puri, and the crusty bangle shaped kakana. Pau and bhaji or uno dipped in tea is luxurious start to a Goan's day.
We have already seen a baker from Goa is based on the theme that a baker is a legacy of the Portuguese and is of vital importance in a traditional Goan village. Let's now read the lesson and appreciate it. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Those eaters of loaves of might have vanished, but the makers are still there. Let us now look at a few words' meanings. Reminisce means to remember fondly. Nostalgia, a bittersweet yearning for the things of the past. Vanish means to become invisible. Here, the author remembers his good old days in Goa when the village baker occupied an important place in life. Although, with the passage of time, people do not eat so much bread, yet the village bakers are still there. Thus, the author tells that his elders usually thought fondly of the old Portuguese days when a baker used to play a very important role. Loaves of bread were a part and parcel of the Portuguese bakeries. The Portuguese are gone, but the bakers are still there. Students, you know, the Portuguese left India and you can find a lot of Portuguese influence in Goa. We still have amongst us the mixtures, the molders and those who bake the loaves. Those age-old, time-tested furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. Extinguish means to put out or to end burning. Extinguish means to put out. Here the author tells us that we can still see mixers, molders, and people who bake the loaves in Goa, though the Portuguese left Goa much early. We know a furnace is a big fireplace used for cooking, and the time-tested fireplaces are still there in Goa. Let's read the last sentence once again. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. What does this imply? This implies bread is still being baked in those furnaces. Bread is still being baked in those furnaces. So, these furnaces are still in use. The thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo, heralding his arrival in the morning, can still be heard in some places. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are even today known as Poder in Goa. Let's now look at a few words' meanings. Thud and jingle are kinds of sounds. Heralding means announcing. Poder means baker. It's in Portuguese. Let us read this passage once again. The thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo, heralding his arrival in the morning, can still be heard in some places. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are even today known as Poder in Goa. Thud is the heavy sound of something falling. Jingle means it's a light, a ringing sound. Now, the baker comes with a bamboo and he bangs it on the floor, and this announces, heralding means announcing his arrival in the morning. Poders or the Goan bakers use the traditional baker's bamboo. They stamp it on the ground to make a thudding and jingling sound that announces their arrival. The family profession of baking a variety of breads is mentioned in this passage. Someone in the baker's family still carries on the business and the tradition of baking breads. Students, here we are told about the arrival of bakers with baskets of bread in some of the Goan villages even today. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion and guide. He used to come at least twice a day. Here the author recalls that a baker used to visit the village twice a day. He used to be the author's friend and guide. Students, in the past, even in Kerala we had people going around selling bakery products to different people by visiting their houses or their homes. I can very clearly remember a person who used to come to our homes every week to sell bakery products, and we eagerly used to wait for that man. In the last passage we saw that the baker used to visit the author twice a day. Now let's read. Once when he set out in the morning on his selling round, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. Thus, the baker visited them twice. The first time was when he started his sale in the morning, and then after the sale was over while returning. The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep, and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of the loaf? Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Paskin or Bastin, the maid servant of the house. The jingling sound of the bamboo stick used to wake up the author and others from sleep. They ran to meet and greet the baker, and they did not buy anything. The servants from the different houses bought the loaves. In other words, the author and the other children in his family during his childhood days were woken up by the jingling thud of the bamboo. The children would run to meet and greet the baker. They would do so not because of the love of the loaf, but because the baker's arrival would fill their household with activity. As small children, they enjoyed this excitement. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. The author and other children eagerly waited for bread bangles. You have the picture there, and you can see what bread bangles are. And they were so sweet. They were very fond of these bread bangles, and they eagerly waited for the baker to come to them with these bread bangles. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the jung jung sound of his specially made bamboo staff. One hand supported the basket on his head, and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. The baker's bamboo stick was a special one. He made the sound by banging his bamboo on the ground. Thus, the baker would announce his arrival in the author's area by the musical sound made by his bamboo stick. One of his hands supported the huge basket of bread on his head, and the other he used to bang the bamboo on the ground in order to announce his coming. Students, the baker makes a musical entry on the scene, and he announces his coming with the sound made by the stick which he bangs on the floor. And we are told one hand supported the basket, and with the other he banged the bamboo on the ground. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning, and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. Rebuke means a scolding or disapproval. Scolding or disapproval. Let's read once again. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning, and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. The baker greeted the lady of the house and placed his basket on the bamboo stick that was kept in a vertical position, and the children were pushed aside and they were scalded, a mild scalding. and the loaves of bread would be delivered to the servant in the house. But we would not give up. We would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket somehow. I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. Give up means to surrender. Parapet means low protective wall. Peep, to look through narrow opening. Fragrance means pleasant smell. The author and other children did not surrender. They did not give up. They climbed a bench or the parapet and looked into the basket. And the author could still recall the pleasant smell of those loaves of bread. Students, recall means to bring back to mind. The author can recall the pleasant smell of those loaves. Students, fresh loaves of bread have pleasant smell, and we all do the same. When we get some good smell from the kitchen, we just go to inquire what is being cooked. Loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. In those days, it was a fashion to eat bread with hot tea. The author was so fond of bread that he would not even brush his teeth before eating it. The bakers used to prepare those loaves in the old Portuguese way, and the author and his friends or the other children were very fond of these loaves of bread or bangles of bread. The author and other children had no patience, and we are told they had their bread without even brushing their teeth. And why should we? Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. Hot tea could wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. Look at the remark made by the author. The tiger never brushed his teeth. The author makes this remark when he eagerly rushes to grab the sweet bread bangles from the baker's basket and eat them without having brushed his teeth. He makes this observation because children are carefree and do not understand the need for brushing. Besides, the author does not like the unpleasant task of plucking the mango leaf to brush his teeth. He considers himself a tiger that does not care to brush his teeth. Students, there were days when people used neem leaves and mango leaves to brush their teeth. And he tries to justify his action of eating the bread without brushing his teeth by giving the example of a tiger who never brushes his teeth. Marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread known as the bow. Just as a party or a feast loses its charm without bread, not enough can be said to show how important a baker can be for a village. The village baker was especially important for all occasions. The villagers were much fond of the sweet bread known as ball. Marriage gifts were meaningless without these sweet breads. Thus, bread is surely an important part of Goan life. A party or a feast is not complete without bread. The presence of the baker's activities is thus an integral part of all festive occasions in Goa. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. Cakes and bolingas are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Thus, the presence of the Govan baker's furnace in the village is absolutely essential. Bread is surely an important part of Govan life. A sweet bread bowl is an essential part of every marriage gift. Cakes and bolingas are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Sandwiches are necessary at the time of a daughter's engagement. Thus, the presence of a baker's furnace was very essential in each village. On all occasions, the villagers needed one or another type of cake which could be baked in the furnace. To prepare cakes, bolingas and other items on special occasions, baker's furnace is essential for Govan people. Students, as certain items are must for the festivals we celebrate in our state, cakes and bolingas are a must for Govans to celebrate Christmas and some other festivals. Also, they prepare a lot of sandwiches on the occasion of their daughter's engagement. The baker or bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as the kabai. It was a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees. So students, we are told here about the peculiar dress that the bread sellers of those days wore. And it was a single piece of long frock reaching down to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and trousers which were shorter than full-length ones and longer than half pants. Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a poder. Students, in the last passage we saw that the bakers in the Portuguese days wore a peculiar dress known as the kabai, and when the author was saying the bakers wore a shirt and trousers which were shorter than full-length ones and longer than half pants. Anybody who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a poder. The baker usually collected his bills at the end of the month. Monthly accounts used to be recorded to some wall in pencil. Baking was indeed a profitable profession in the olden days. Here we are told how the baker kept his accounts. He used to record the account or write on some wall in pencil and keep his monthly accounts. And he collected his bills at the end of every month. And those days it was a profitable profession. Baking was a profitable profession because it was part and parcel, means bread used to be part and parcel of their life. The baker and his family never starved. He, his family and his servants always looked happy and prosperous. Their plump physique was an open testimony to this. Even today, any person with a jackfruit-like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. Plum means full and rounded shape or fat. Testimony means evidence or proof. Let's read once again. The baker and his family never starved. He, his family and his servants always looked happy and prosperous. Their plum physique was an open testimony to this. Even today, any person with a jackfruit-like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. So, baking or the job of a baker was a profitable business then. The bakers used to be well off. Their families never starved. Their plump bodies showed that they were like jackfruit. We are told here that their fat bodies is a proof that the bakers of those days did not starve. The author, Lucio Rodriguez, wants to impress upon the reader that every area, state or a region has one peculiarity or another which is not known by most people. In this sense, the Poder, with his peculiar dress, occupies a pride place in Goan life, and no Goan can think of a life without him. He is there at the doorstep in the morning, just like the newspaper. The institution of the Poder has become so wedded to the Goan life that it will always remain immortal. Indirectly, the author suggests to revive and preserve our old traditions.